And the nice thing about a Chris Pratt action figure is that it doesn't talk, so you can't really judge the character for the things that the actor says. You can just enjoy it for what it is. Chris Pratt, he's a funny old one.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Trying to make me look like an idiot, Gamer Ranks? I don't need your help for that. I can do it myself. Hello there, gang, and welcome to what's going to be a bit of a weird episode of Displaying Model Behaviour. I'm going to film this kind of like it's a live stream, but it's not actually live. But it's very much a stream of consciousness to the camera, because there's something I wanted to talk about, which I thought I gotta address this. You know, it's not really a big controversy, but it's something that I'm annoyed about myself with. And that's that in the last video, I mentioned Chris Pratt because I was talking about Star-Lord. And I had this little moment where I was like, I was trying to be clever. I do that on this channel sometimes. I wasn't. I also do that on this channel a lot as well. And I was like, well, you know, the action figure, it doesn't speak, which is great because then you don't get Chris Pratt's opinions, you know, like lol, because he's kind of problematic. Yeah, I'm so annoyed at myself for doing that. Because I fell into one of the most classic stupid person traps where it's like, I've half heard something on the internet. Well, that's obviously true. I'm going to extrapolate that out into my own opinion. Wow, I'm so angry that I thought I want to actually talk about it. And first of all, apologize for doing something that was so not like the person I want to be. Because first things first, I don't know what kind of a human being Chris Pratt is. Maybe he's a good guy, maybe he's a bad guy, but the fact of the matter is that I've formed an opinion based on nothing more than hearsay and rumor that gets kicked up and cultivated by the internet. And what's really annoying is that I see myself as a kind of a liberal left-wing kind of person who a lot of people would call woke. And I hate that expression because it's been just, it doesn't mean anything anymore. But I think that I then made myself the worst example of what it means to be woke. I heard that someone was cancelled because they did something we didn't like, and I was like, yeah, that guy is a dick. No, actually, maybe if I'd actually, done a bit more research as to what people were talking about, I would have formed my own opinion. And the fact of the matter is, that's not a woke thing, that's a human thing. There are people on the left that do that, there are people on the right that do that. And that was me going, I've heard, what was my little trigger? My little trigger thing was that Chris Pratt was a member of a church that has staunchly anti-LGBTQ values and principles. And that's a big cause that's very, very close to my heart. And when I hear something with regards to that, I'm going to get my heckles up. And then I'm going to get some confirmation bias where I'm like, oh, is that a thing? Oh, did I hear a bit more of a thing? Well, that's definitely a thing. Well, you know what? Screw that guy. He's clearly, no good to anyone. And that's actually not the case. Because after I posted that video with that, it was only a tiny little comment, but it was enough to kind of expose my own ignorance and my failings as someone who was willing to form an opinion that was only based on nonsense. So a few people called me out in the comments and thank you for doing it. Some of you did it in a very nice way. Some of you didn't. But the fact of the matter is, it did deserve to be called out. And some folks said that, he's just getting slack because people don't like conservative Christians anymore. And that's not the case. It's because the church that he is a member of does have those values. However, he has gone on record and in interviews as saying that that's not the case. But I'm not here to actually debate the ups and downs of Chris Pratt, although after doing some research, my opinion has changed and I am more positive towards him. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that, like so many people, I thought that I was above making snap decisions and going with the flow and the groupthink mentality, but no, turns out I'm actually, my you-know-what does stink, just like everyone else's, because I heard something I didn't like and I latched straight onto it. And it's so easy to do, whether you're on the left politically or the right politically, or what actually 90% of us really are, which is somewhere in the middle, kind of converging, but the world loves putting us in different camps, doesn't it? That's why I try not to talk about politics on this show, which again was totally hypocritical of me, because I always espouse, this is an action figure, fun, multimedia kind of channel. We're not here to talk about that. And then what do? Put in a stupid, snidey remark, so more fool me. But yeah, that was what I wanted to kind of address, was that I was totally wrong. And I wanted to kind of like hold my hands up and call that, because that's what model behavior should be. Like, you can't call your channel model behavior and then not try to act like it every now and then. So I'm going to make a point to myself not to just hear a little something and then go with it, but actually, dare I say, educate myself, find out a little bit more about the facts. And again, this isn't saying that Chris Pratt is right or wrong or good or bad or anything, because there's a whole lot of stuff out there. But what I'm saying is, I made the mistake about jumping to a conclusion that I hadn't actually researched myself. And that annoyed me so much, I'm making a separate video about it on a toy channel in which I'm not talking about toys, but I am talking about myself, and that is my favorite subject. And also, when I was going and doing some research about Chris Pratt, it also just made me feel really grubby about what a bullying, gross place the internet is, and how like people love to just get that mob mentality, and I became a part of it as well. And that was really like, especially, people say, oh, you shouldn't bully people, you shouldn't upset people or offend people. And then it's like, oh yeah, unless we don't like that person, in which case we can bully them because we don't like them. And it's like, oh man, those kind of double standards are kind of gross. So I'm glad that I actually got called out for what I said, which was pretty innocuous, but still, it was something that didn't actually jive. And I'm really happy about the fact that some guys pulled me up on it. So I appreciate that. And I've actually gone and, checked myself and gone, okay, all right, I get it now. I still don't like the connotations of, what some of the church that he's a part of seems to be, because that does directly affect me and my loved ones and people that I care about. But also, I understand that he's a part of something that maybe he is a good example of. I don't know. I've always had a bit of a struggle with religion. I was raised Catholic, and it wasn't like a bad experience, but it wasn't right for me because I was raised on guilt and feeling bad about, who I am as a person. That's pretty tough. But actually recently I've seen examples of how important and how good and how much positivity can come from religion and belief. And that was actually a little humbling. So that's given me a chance to sort of assess myself and look at the way that I act and the way that I think about other people's views and beliefs and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. And I think I've been spending far too much time saying it. So the bottom line is, I'm not saying that Chris Pratt is right or wrong or good or bad, but he's certainly not what I allowed the internet to make me think he is, because I'm the one who was wrong to get caught up in group speak and mob mentality, which doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you can be a part of. And being in the bastion of model behavior, obviously, I wanted to actually call myself on it and be like, okay, Dave, let's see if we can fix that going forward. So gang, thank you so much for, if you watched any of this, you might have clicked off after 30 seconds. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you, because this is an odd video. But still, I didn't want to put out another video and kind of like not address what I'd said before, because I didn't want to be that person who's like, will say something stupid and people will comment on it. I'm like, I don't read that. I don't care. Believe me, I read every comment. Some of them cut pretty deep, but that's what comes with. That's what comes with having 30,000 subscribers, and not everyone's going to like you. So gang, thank you so much. I'm not going to say, what do you think about Chris Pratt? No. I'll leave it at that. Although, if we wanted like a little talking point, I've discovered something about myself that I need to kind of improve and change and work on. What do you need to improve and change and work on? Because we can all do that. We can all be better people, and if that's not model behavior, I don't know what is. So gang, thank you for watching. If you are still watching by this point, Lord knows, I don't know what the appeal was, but I feel better for doing it. So gang, until next time, keep displaying model behavior.